Few things that men make are so immovable as buildings. They stand a tribute to the effort and skill of an army of craftsmen from every trade employed by the building industry. Craftsmen who know that their work will stand long after they are forgotten. Yet, although buildings are static, what a story of movement is in them. What a tale of transport there is in the assembling of the materials that go into their construction. In building, the builder's transport problem is as widespread as the places where he labors. For in every city, every town, and the remotest corners of the country, he needs a stream of supplies to arrive on time. Supplies that range from a bath tap or a manhole cover to many tons of timber, stone, ballast, brick, and cement. Some are sturdy materials, others fragile. Some are weatherproof, others need careful protection. The problem is partly solved by builders' merchants, who maintain stocks of the materials most commonly required by the smaller jobbing builders and the home handyman. In the solution of this problem, the railway's freight service has earned the thanks of builders and contractors for its rapidity in dealing with small consignments wanted in a hurry. Working in close cooperation is the cartage service, which enables contractors to avoid using large lorries for small parcels. An extension of this idea, particularly useful to builders, is the container service, which delivers goods to the most inaccessible sites. But the chief transport problem is one of bulk. To build, stone is needed, stone in large quantities for making concrete and for making roads. There are a great many quarries all over the country producing huge quantities of stone each year. Only a railway can handle bulk such as this. In collaboration with the producers and users, special methods of bulk transport have been developed to give a quarry-to-site service. The great advantages of the system now developed become apparent at the point of transfer to the site, where hand labor, slow and costly, is almost dispensed with. Bulk transport and a readiness to develop new methods have thus made it possible to provide large mechanized plant. This has led naturally enough to an improvement in the cost and speed of road making. Having got our roads, let us consider building. The bulk of almost all building is brickwork. In our country, largely standing on clay, this is not likely to change. All over the country, small brickworks and large mechanized plants turn out hundreds of thousands of tons of bricks a year. Mechanical production and bulk transport go hand in hand. Loading is rapidly carried out to a total of 500,000 tons per year. And these trainloads of bricks, blocks and tiles have to be carried here, there and everywhere in all parts of the country. Besides brick, buildings of all kinds call for a great deal of timber. Each year, thousands of tons of timber are cut, mostly in the sparsely populated parts of Scotland and Wales. They are needed far away in the industrial trial areas and must be taken there by railway. These are called bolster wagons. Hundreds of them are in constant use. Vast though it may seem, home production is not enough, and large quantities of timber have to be imported from all over the world. Transport work is not interpreted by the railways in a narrow sense, because here we find them stocking and tending timber for the importer until he needs it. These are LMS men measuring and stacking timber. It's a skilled business, ensuring that air circulates throughout the stack. They are experts. They have to be, because over 400,000 tons a year pass through their hands at one port alone, the LMS port of Garston. All this timber will find its way along the railway tracks until, with the bricks and the gravel and the cement, it reaches the building site. On the site, a building is largely handmade, such as in Roman times. There is a difference, though. The railway gives the craftsman a chance to choose the best of the nation's output instead of having to rely on purely local materials. The carpenters also benefit. They can select their timber from all over the world. Apart from structural timber, that will be a permanent part of the house, a large quantity is used over and over again for such things as framework for concreting. A very large quantity of timber helps the builder in less obvious ways. For instance, there's the permanent way. The LMS railway uses well over 1,500,000 sleepers every year. It takes 2,112 of them to bed a mile of track. Apart from all these uses, the railway carries timber to factories where, not being at the mercy of the weather, production of builders' joinery, like doors, window frames and cupboards, need never stop. To give protection from the weather, to cut out handling, and above all, to give a factory-to-site service, containers are very frequently found at the loading bays of joinery factories. Let us go from doors to windows, another of the many building supplies made by the engineering trades. Typical of the quantities of metal carried to factories, eventually to emerge as builders' engineering, is the steel bar. Vast amounts of this alone are delivered every year to factories where metal windows are mass produced. all this metalwork must not become twisted or strained in transit. Its loading gives a further instance of the container giving trouble-free door-to-door service to the builder. The windows, like the doors, pass out into the railway network, into the marshalling yards. Here we find all manner of building supplies being made into trains for all parts of the country. Watching these trains with their widely varied loads, it isn't difficult to visualize the finished buildings. There are steel beams and stanchions, and roof trusses for the framework, concrete mixers, and the stone, sand, and cement to go in them, and always wagon after wagon load of bricks, timber for the roof, and the slates to cover them. Once the walls are up and the roof is on, the railway must provide a multitude of things to go inside. Doors, gas stoves, fireplaces, glass, and even that arrives safely. And so the work can proceed, the resources of big industries at the disposal of the smallest builder. Wiring, switchgear and lamps, lime, distemper, paint, pipes, taps, tanks and boilers, door handles and locks, putty and glass. And so another house nears completion, the result of a partnership of many trades and industries together with the cooperation of 250,000 LMS railwaymen. Their indispensable part has not ended, nor is it just beginning. It goes on all the time.